Hello and welcome to our second video on our series on monetary economics. In this video, we're going to be discussing what money is and the basic properties it has to satisfy. And we're going to start revealing some of the important aspects that we have to keep into account as we go on with the module. So for us, money is going to be anything that satisfies three specific properties. The first one is that it's something that can be used as a medium of exchange. This is actually the most important and most crucial of the three properties, so let's discuss it first. Basically, we want money to be something that we can use to make transactions, and so it needs to be universally accepted. The point here is that as opposed to a barter economy where you need to find somebody that wants the good that you're carrying to exchange it for another good, you are guaranteed with money that everybody will accept your money in exchange for other goods. Now, the key for us is that people are accepting the money because they can exchange it later for other goods and not because of any intrinsic value. That's going to come back later as we discuss different types of assets that can all function as money, but what's going to take cash, kind of dollars, as a specific type of money we want to study is that unlike other types of assets, it has no other value besides from the fact that you can use it to exchange it for other goods. The second property of money is that you can use it as a store of value. So you can use it to exchange resources across periods. You can save your money today and use it tomorrow to buy goods and services in the future. But many other assets are good stores of value, and actually we're going to see most other assets are better stores of value than money. So you can think of having a bank account, of having a secure deposit, or for example, buying a work of art that might be worth in the future. So that's another way to store value. Then the third and final property that we want money to satisfy is it being a unit of account. It is literally the units in which you count stuff. And in particular, this is important because being the official unit of account, money is going to be what we use when we write contracts. So contracts are going to be an important feature of the models that we deal with because they are actually the way in which the legal framework interacts with the economy and lets economic transactions occur. And so, for example, when you have an employment contract, you say, I'm going to provide labor in exchange for a payment, and you specify that payment in dollars. Unlike in previous, ages ago, you might have received a payment in some sort of good. They might pay you in terms of land. They might pay you in terms of food. We want to focus on an economy where we have something that we're going to call money, and we can use it to exchange it for other goods. We can use it to store value across periods, and we can use it as the unit of account for every transaction and for every contract that we have. And so many things can be money. Basically, when you think about it, almost any asset can be a store of value or a unit of account. You can use a lot of things for this type of result. And so because almost any asset can be used as a unit of account, then what we have is, why is money different? Why is money a better form? Money, when I mean cash, why is it a better form? Well, what makes money better, what makes cash better, is that unlike a ton of other assets, it is really easy to know how much it's worth. Because it is worth only because of transactions, you don't need to ascertain the value of the assets for other reasons. Let me make a clear example of this. You could try to buy your house by saying, I'm going to sell you a stock in this firm. That's an asset you have, and you can use it for a transaction. You give me a house, I'm going to give you a bunch of shares in a firm. But we might have asymmetric information. I might know more about the firm than you. I might know, for example, that the firm is actually worthless, while you think that the firm is very valuable. And so because there is this asymmetric information, that's going to make it very difficult for different agents to be able to ascertain the value of the asset and hence use it for a transaction. It is also very easy to divide assets to carry out small and large transactions alike. While money, we can always use it for any transaction, no matter how big or how small. To give you a more specific example, you could think of bonds as another form of asset. You can use it for transactions where I exchange a bond for some other good. You can use it as a unit of account. But if you think about it, most bonds, especially government bonds, are going to be denoted the smallest one in the tens of thousands of dollars. So what if you want to buy a lunch? Your lunch is going to be worth a lot less than the bond. It's going to be very easy to divide the asset in such a way that you can make small transactions and large transactions alike. But money is perfectly divisible. And so money, cash, it's going to have a big advantage in terms of how easy it is to make transactions. As I was saying before, the particular type of money we are going to be concerned with is what we call fiat money. Fiat money overcomes all these problems. And just as an aside, fiat comes from Latin. It's a Latin word that basically means it basically means that it has value because we say so. Basically, it's something that are done because of themselves. And so this fact that we use fiat money, money that has no other real backing, it only has value basically because we are accepting it for transactions. As a society, we can agree that money is acceptable. That's going to be the key thing that's going to give it value. So what exactly are we thinking when we say money? As I was saying, it's mostly cash, but it's not only cash. Actually, a lot of liquid assets also count as money. So a liquid asset is going to be another type of asset that you can easily transform into cash. And so the more easily you can transform into cash, you can say that that asset is more liquid. And so a good example of this is bank deposits. If you have a bank deposit, you can easily convert it into money by using your debit card. You can go to an ATM and make cash out of it. But if you have a treasury bond, if you have a government bond, it's going to be very hard to convert. You cannot instantaneously say, oh, I have this treasury bond. Let me just convert it into its cash value. So the bond relative to the bank account is going to be very illiquid. And what we see is we're actually moving towards a cashless economy where money is mostly composed by assets that are very liquid but are not quite cash. That's because technology is making it very easy for us to convert our bank deposits into cash by using debit or credit cards. So the use of debit and credit cards basically makes it so that if you have money in the bank, it is as good as just having cash in your pocket. And we can see that in the statistics for Canada, from the Bank of Canada, that actually show that over half of all transactions in Canada are conducted with credit cards. And actually, a minority of it, just 15%, are conducted with actual cash. And so what's behind these transactions? Basically, the promise that our accounts, that our bank accounts are backed with cash, that we actually deposited the cash we needed in the bank account to be able to sustain the transactions that we're carrying through with credit cards or debit cards. And so that kind of wraps up what we're thinking about money. The final thing that we need to mention is that as we go forward, we're going to be using money as the numerator. And numerator is just this fancy word that reflects an item or commodity that we use as a measure or value or a standard for exchange. So basically, it's just the unit of account. So when we have a model and we say, what's the numerator of your model? What we mean is, what is the item in which you are counting? And just to give you an example, in the models that we're going to write now, as in real life, we will count things in units of money. We're literally going to just use dollars. And so $1 is by definition its own value because that is the numerator. So $1 is $1. One apple, that's a consumption good, it's going to be $4. I'm thinking here of a especially fancy apple. One house might be $500,000. In the models that we had before, these were real models. We were using consumption goods as the numerator. So in those models, we said that the price of 1 unit of consumption good was, of course, because it's the numerator, 1 unit of consumption good. But then, for example, the real wage was expressed as the price of a unit of labor in terms of how many consumption goods can I buy with that unit of labor.